When it's not always raining, there'll be days like this. When there's no one complaining, there'll be days like this. Everything falls into place like the flick of a switch. Well, my mama told me there'll be days like this. When you don't need to worry, there'll be days like this. When no one's in a hurry, there'll be days like this. When you don't get betrayed by that old Judas kiss. Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this. When you don't need an answer, there'll be days like this. When you don't need a chance, there'll be days like this. When all the parts of the puzzle start to look like they fit, then I must remember there'll be days like this.
Our dad was the best man I've known. I think if you're in the room today, you may have felt that too. Thank you for being here and showing up for him today. He believed in showing up for people. It would mean so much to him to see all of you here. To those who are unable to be with us today, we feel your love and presence as well. I always knew I had the best dad, like exceptionally the best. He loved Patrick, Kim, and us so much, and we knew it, and he made sure of it. He showed up for us, offered advice when we asked or didn't ask for it. He was generous and kind and cheesy and loving. He had a strong moral compass. He was never imposing, but had a way of always helping us find the right path somehow, making it seem like we found it all on our own. He loved his grandchildren, Levon, Joe, Clara, and Elsie. He would carry them around, lifting them to new heights and soaring above everyone, showing them the moon, kicking a soccer ball to them, asking them questions about what was going on in their lives. He is their gub-gub. They love him. We will be sure they always think of him when they see the moon. Our dad was a great storyteller. I'm going to miss those stories. He was always pointing a finger and using hand gestures mixed in with his belly-moving laugh. My favorites were his stories with Connie in them. What a love and life they built together. They share a powerful and deep and fun love. I don't think I've ever seen a couple that had more fun together. Laughter and love was abundant. The stories of their adventures together usually involved tear-inducing laughter. They could cut a rug on the dance floor and be the life of the party. He called her beautiful, and he always kept his Brazilian accent in beautiful, reserved just for her. He loved his friends. I struggled to keep up with everyone in my life, not Dad. He was always calling or texting people, arranging lunches, dinners, or meetups, sending quotes or articles, something that reminded him of them. I think in losing his parents young, being an only child, and moving to a new country, he made family wherever he went. He had his high school friends from Brazil. One of his great prides in retirement was taking more regular trips back to Brazil and spending time with old classmates. Kim and I got to join Connie on a trip a few years ago, and I was taken aback by the love and closeness they shared, not stopped at all by the years or distance apart. He had his family in Norway. He spent his summers and his younger days taking trips back with his mom, and we took family trips as well. He was close with his cousins and made sure he held close to our ties there as well. He held strong to family ties with my mom's family, driving 2 hours to have lunch with my grandma a few months ago. He was the first to call her on Mother's Day. He was a brother to her siblings and an uncle to my cousins. He always maintained a respect and friendship with my mom, Elaine, over the years as well. He had the same relationship with Connie's family as well, having a forever bond with her mom, brothers, and cousins. His college friends. Talk about stories. He loved going up to Brevard for homecoming or hosting visits of his guys. He recently had the chance to share how much each of them meant to him. He was so good at doing that with others. His soccer team, really old. Get it? Really old. Best soccer team game ever. They played together for over 40 years, and they were a central part of his life. His work family for 40 plus years at the banks, many of the same key figures throughout the time. Many of you are here today, co-workers, mentors, mentees, lifelong friends. The countless couples, friends, and groups that he and Connie shared together throughout the years. The many friends he made here at the club, his Saturday golf club group, the Peninsula Club board and committee members, and of course his beloved Peninsula Community Foundation members and associated charities. Another decades-long passion of his was his work with affordable housing, and he was able to work with this through his involvement with Room in the Inn, Habitat for Humanity, and more recent work with Lake Norman CDC, striving to make this wonderful community more attainable and livable for all. You all mattered so much to him. He talked about you often, and he loved you very much. I've talked to you today about people Dad loved. Now I'd like to share a few things he loved. He wasn't much of a material things guy, but there are some things that held a special place in his heart. Let's start with leaf blowers. He either really loved leaf blowers or really did not like leaves. But he focused on the positive, so I'm going to say he really loved leaf blowers. He loved Christmas and the music and movies that came with it. His favorite movies were Elf and It's a Wonderful Life. Connie and I were talking about it a few days ago. Dad was a real-life George Bailey, a family man and banker that cared about his family, place of work, and his community, and always giving and thinking of others. Years ago, Connie bought a sign that said, "This life is truly a wonderful life." It was meant to be a Christmas decoration, but it stayed up all year. A nod to his favorite movie, but of course, also a statement of the life he lived, a life Connie and Dad built and nurtured together. He had a deep love for the ocean or any body of water, which is why I think Cornelius, specifically Lake Norman, held a special place for him. Dad spent most of his time at home facing the water. One of his last trips was to the beach a few weeks ago, and one of my last memories with him was him teaching my son Leon how to boogie board at our family beach trip earlier this summer, and also teaching all 4 grandkids to drive his pontoon boat here on the lake. Dad loved soccer. It's fitting that his favorite team, Botafogo, had one of their best seasons last year, winning the Brazilian championship in 2024. Woo! Now we just need the Brazilian national team to get it together. I'm sure he'll be pulling strings in heaven in preparation for next year's World Cup. He loved this country. He was so proud to call it his home. Being an American was a great source of honor for him. Our family loves music. Listening to it on the deck or seeing it live, there was hardly a moment he didn't have music playing. The songs you will hear in the background later today are among some of his favorites. He had many. Our dad had the biggest heart, and he had a wonderful life. He filled his life with people and things he loved, and spent his days contributing to and enjoying their presence. This life of his is something he was very proud of. He built a life and legacy based on hard work, doing the right thing, storytelling, friendship, and most laughter and most centrally, love. Dad never held back on sharing his love and gratitude for people. He was a notorious card writer. I have boxes of cards from him and notes from him. He would send cards just because. He would keep a stash of greeting cards to send for any occasion, just to let you know he was thinking of you. These weren't 1 or 2 line notes. I'm talking underlining and adding to the verbiage that came on the greeting card, and then filling all the empty spaces of that card inside and back with words of appreciation, gratitude, proudness, and love. If there was a paper insert, you better believe he was writing on the back of that. He left it all out there. And the emails and texts, always filled with exclamation points. The man loved exclamation points. So many exclamation points. His excitement and love burst out of him. He wanted to know everything about people in his orbit. He would remember details about people and truly care when he asked you how you were doing or if your mom's uncle's friends still had that house down the road. He would write letters to the spouses of the people who worked for him every year for Christmas, thanking them for sharing their significant other with him throughout the year. He saw people for more than what was in front of him, and in this case, he wanted those significant others to know that he saw them and appreciated them as well as the person who worked with him. In more recent years, with his involvement at the Peninsula Club Peninsula Community Foundation, he wrote handwritten letters to everyone who made a donation, big or small, to personally thank them and let them know how important their contribution was to the community and how grateful he was for it. This is a giving group. I saw stacks of cards he sent, and there were many. The love that he has for all of you and for Connie, Kemp, Patrick, Emily, Josh, Leon, Joe, Clara, Elsie, and I is felt here today. He's been giving me signs of peace all week. To lose someone like my dad is earth-shattering. But I find comfort in knowing that he is reunited with his parents and the loved ones he's lost over the years. Dad's mom died on October 24th, 1986, exactly 39 years to the day before he did. There's no way that was a coincidence. His dad's birthday was on Halloween just a few days ago. Imagine that reunion. Thank you for allowing me to talk about my dad with you all today. It's a true honor, and I have one ask. When you leave today, write a few cards to people you love. Tell them how proud you are of them, how grateful you are to have them in your lives, and how much you love them. Maybe include a few quotes. Don't leave things out, and please use a lot of exclamation points to really get the point across. As our dad always said with so much excitement, thank you and have a great day. In fact, I'll let my dad himself remind you to have a great day. Many of you may recognize this familiar message.
Reach George Searle. I'm sorry that I can't get to the phone, but your message is very important to me. So I will call you back as soon as I hear it. Thank you and have a great day.
Friend, colleague, I'm a dear friend, George. I met George almost 25 years ago. I think you guys were newlyweds, or close to it, at that point in time. Where do I start about George? You know, over the last few days, I've gotten so many folks, as I'm sure Connie and the family has, to reach out. They knew we were friends. The thoughts, the expressions that they gave me kept me going. A few that stood out. George was always positive, never seemed to have a bad day. I would call George's voicemail just to start my day. George's personality and the joy he projected immediately wrapped around me. George broke the mold. He was one of a kind and was always true to himself. As I reflect on our dear friend George, I find myself returning to three themes I'll try to capture briefly. One, George was a true friend. You know, throughout your life, you have different kinds of friends. Childhood friends, golf buddies, bourbon buddies, work colleagues, gym partners, and community companions. For many of you, George was one or even several of those types of friends or kinds of friends. You know, studies suggest, I've been reading over the last week, we only have, on average, 3 to 6 truly close friends in our lifetime. It's hard to believe, but that's true. Not just acquaintances or temporary companions, but deep, lasting friendships. George was one of those rare, close friends to me, and I'm sure many of you. And the remarkable thing about George is that he was that kind of friend to a lot of people. He didn't just make friends, he invested in people. That was George. But George was also a banker, as Erica stated, who invested in people. George spent many years in banking. A lot of his friends are here today. First Union, Wachovia, later Yadkin, and then First National Bank. He was proud of his profession, and he was deeply, deeply admired by his friends. Even in his early years, in working in collections, can you imagine big George, knocking on your door, asking you for money? I won't tell you the examples that we talk about over golf and bourbon, but I will tell you, George had such a soft heart that many times I could say this today, or I could say this back then. It's probably illegal today. A lot of people's payment probably came out of George's pocket. He understood the concept of investment, not just in financial terms, but in human terms. He believed in investing in people and causes. George was personally frugal, sometimes to the dismay of Connie and Patrick, but always with a purpose. I know in recent days, Connie, Patrick, Erica, Kim, and the family found comfort and laughter in George's thoughtful frugality. George had a budget for everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything, big or small. While frustrating at times, the family found George's frugality a source of great humor and love. The family has found comfort and laughter in recalling these stories, cherished reminders of George's guiding spirit. Through them, he continues to teach quietly, enduring the enduring lesson he lived so well, and that is simplicity and humility make room for generosity. In that what we say can become a gift to others. In fact, there was a story I heard, and it's a recent story, about the planning of the Peninsula Community Foundation Gala that's going to be held in this very room. Oh, by the way, George didn't tell me to tell you this, but if you haven't bought your golden ticket, please do so. But one of the board members, or a few board members, suggested starting the evening, and if you've been to this event, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a really fabulous event. But starting the evening with a signature cocktail. George, the ever practical banker that he was, said he calculated the return, and he stood firm. No cocktail! To him, the night was about the cause, not the celebration. I can hear him saying, we won't raise an extra penny with this cocktail, but we can give a few more dollars to those in need. And then, of course, a classic George exclamation, excuse me, my Portuguese is not very good, achimo, or ansa leche, or some other Brazilian phrase only he could pull off. George was also a man of pride, but in all the right, ways. George was a proud man, not prideful, but proud in the best sense. He was proud of his family, Connie, Erica, Patrick, Kemp, the grandchildren. Many of us in this room came to know you so much closer than you'll ever know by all the stories that George told us over the years. As your families began to grow, he couldn't wait to share his experiences and updates about recent visits or trips out west. His pride in all of you was boundless. He was proud of his country, both Brazil, where he was born, in the United States, his adopted home. He cherished the freedoms and the opportunities he found here and was deeply grateful to be an American. In fact, and some of you may have gotten this past 4th of July, but I'm going to read a text that I got, and I'm sure many of you did. Good morning. I cannot do a George impression. Happy 4th of July. As you know, I'm not originally from around here, but being here in the United States has been one of the greatest blessings of my life. The 4th of July isn't just a holiday for me. It's not simply a day off work or a time to enjoy classic American comfort foods like hamburgers and hot dogs, in parentheses and with an exclamation point, though I'll be happy to partake. It's a powerful reminder, like so many other days, of just how fortunate I am to call this country home and to count you all among my dear friends. If I remained in the country of my birth, I'm sure life would have held meaning and purpose there too. But what the United States has given me and my family is opportunity, something I sometimes struggle to go out to put out into words. The contrast between my two worlds runs deep, but one difference stands out: the abundance of opportunity. And I don't just mean big milestones, I mean the countless quiet ways life works here, often unnoticed. The simple act of being able to choose to contribute to grow. The U.S. is indeed a melting pot, and what makes it remarkable isn't just its diversity, it is its determination to evolve. Its culture, its mindset, its spirit of possibility. Many of us who have come from elsewhere have found not just a place to live, but a place to truly belong. We see the gifts this country offers, and we don't take them for granted. So today, George said, I celebrate not just independence, but gratitude for this land, for the lives we've built, and for the friends like you who make us even more meaningful. Thank you for the opportunity you gave me, and have a happy 4th of July from George. George was proud of his community. He served publicly through organizations like the Peninsula Community Foundation, the Peninsula Club that we're standing in here today, Habitat for Humanity, and many, many others. But he also gave quietly, supporting families and causes behind the scenes that many of us may never know. My memories of George will always be filled with his infectious personality, his unforgettable voicemail greetings. Hello, you've reached the voicemail of George Searle, and have a great day, is George, and his warm, generous heart. He is irreplaceable. And he's unforgivable. I'll close with a verse from Matthew 25, 23. Well done, good and faithful servant. Well done, George. Thank you.
Mark, that was wonderful. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Ken Cumpy, and I'm Connie's brother. Before I begin, I look out at everyone and see you in this room, and please know, just please know, how much your time and your presence mean to us today. We are grateful. My relationship with George spans 30 years together, and while technically George is my brother-in-law, we dropped that formality decades ago, because in reality, he was my brother. I read once that the key to a successful and long-lasting relationship is that each person secretly believes they got the better deal. Well, as y'all can imagine, I can absolutely promise you that I got the better deal with George than he ever got with me. And he loved me anyway. You know, I've been thinking about George, not only what he's meant to me, but what he will continue to mean with me and to each of you. It comes down simply to this. It's what he taught me. It's what he taught me. When I think about it further, I suspect if we all just take a moment, it's also what he taught all of us here today. It'll be with all of us forever. You see, George never tried to tell me how to live my life. He lived his, and he let me watch him do it. George taught me a lot about living, more than I can count. However, there are two gifts about life that George showed me that were the most meaningful of all. Number one, time. Time. That meaningful quality time with those that we love. And number two, a table. Yes, a table. And I mean both literally and metaphorically. And I would ask everyone here today to envision the kind of table where folks are sitting and enjoying each other's company together. You're telling stories, you're laughing, you're eating. And I can certainly promise you, having a drink of some kind, that George is more than happy to top it off for you, probably before you're ready. No one in my life ever valued time more than George. No matter what he was doing, no matter who he was with, every second mattered to him. And may I also add that George was always 100% present in that second, with me, with you, and with everyone. Here's something else that everyone here today has in common. When you were with George, he made all of us feel seen. He made us feel heard and loved. Every second of every bit of time we were together with him. Patrick found these words printed and framed on George's office table upstairs in their house. Take time to be aware. It is the opportunity to help others. Take time to laugh. It's the music of the soul. Take time to play. It's the secret of staying young. Take time to be friendly. It is the road of happiness. Take time to dream. It is what the future is made of. Take time to love and be loved. It is your greatest single gift. Take your time. It's what time is for. One last thing about George's gift of time to me, and I love the fact that both Connie and George found these words written in the 3rd chapter of Ecclesiastes, beautiful, together. Verse 1 begins, "For everything there is a season, and for a time, for every purpose under the heaven." There's that word time again. It's a beautiful verse, and it actually frames all of our lives perfectly. May I ask, in the days and weeks that follow today, take some time, read that verse, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, all of them, verse 1 through 13. Then know and feel how memorable these words were to both Connie and George. Lastly, as I've been reflecting on my most memorable moments with George in my life, it dawned on me. More times than not, we were sitting around together at a table. Sometimes it was just me and George, but mainly it was with a lot of family and friends. I also noticed that sometimes that table had to wait. When I would join Connie and George here at the club, or anywhere out in town for that fact, Connie and I would already have found our ways to the table. We'd be in our chairs, then Connie would look over to me and say, "This could take a while, brother." Of course, George had stopped to speak to everyone, or was stopped at every table before he got back to ours. Because, as you know, the mayor always loves to check in with everyone. Sometimes tables got surprised. I have seen myself the times when I was out with George and Connie in a bar or restaurant. George would ask our waiter, make sure that he got the tab for the people at the table sitting in the corner over there. And don't tell them that I did it. As many of you know, when you walk into George and Connie's kitchen, one of the first things that catches your eye is the large round table sitting right there. Connie shared with me that George actually wanted that round table in their kitchen, telling her that he loved that their table was round because no one could sit at the head of it. Think about that. Because no one could sit at the head of it. The Reverend James Howell once proclaimed in a sermon that I was attending that Jesus' greatest imagery is the table. Hal's words stuck with me then and they stick with me now, especially as I think about George. I recall a while back a discussion that George and I were having about some upcoming plans that he had for the Peninsula Community Foundation. He said this to me: "The foundation wants to do as much as we can, Ken, for everybody that needs us, and then more." I loved that. And what a beautiful vision of dedication and service to others from a man who was clearly, for so many of us, a low-flying angel in all of our lives. George's vision reminded me of a quote from John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church: "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can." As I ponder George's words now, my thoughts keep drifting back to that table. And I know now, without a doubt, that for George, there's really no table large enough. And there's always room for more chairs that include all of us, no matter who we are, what we are, or where we are in our lives. Thanks be to God for the life of our low-flying angel, George Searle.
I did not test this, so I can test it now. On behalf of my mom, Kim, Erica, Josh, and Emily, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to our immediate and extended family for all of the love and support that you've shown us. A special thank you to Mark and Uncle Ken for your kind words earlier. They meant so much to us, and we know how much your friendship meant to him. We also want to take a moment and thank our family and friends around the world that couldn't be here today. Even though you're not here in person, we felt your love every step of the way.
And to our neighborhood friends, our club friends, the foundation friends, the bourbon friends, the soccer friends, the work friends that have been there throughout our entire lives, thank you. Thank you for visiting, for calling, for texting, supporting, and feeding us. Truly, you've been the backbone this past week as we made sense of losing our dad. As Erica mentioned earlier, we're so thankful for all of you showing up today. Not just today, not just this past week, but throughout our entire lives. Thank you for being our friends and our family. Thank you for helping us celebrate this great man who leaves such a colorful legacy behind. You were all part of that legacy, and we will cherish that. Now, as we close this part of the celebration, we invite you to join us for food and drinks. There's bars back there. I'm sure that some of you have already found it. And there's also food in the back. And so we'll be clearing out some of the space and seating in this room to make some extra space for you guys as we meet and cherish our time together with you guys. But please take this time to celebrate his life, share your memories, give big hugs, and just take it all in. And also, as my sister mentioned, there's letters when we came in that you can just write a nice letter and send to anybody that you're proud of or that you're thinking of them, just like Dad would want. But first, we'd like to leave you with one of our favorite videos of Dad, one that captures the spirit and the way he approached life.
the stars ain't shining bright, it feels like you've lost your way. When the candle lights of home burn so very far away, boy, you got to let your soul shine, just like my daddy used to say, soul shine, it's better than the sunshine, it's better than moonshine, damn sure better than the rain. People don't mind, we all feel this way sometimes. You got to let your soul shine, shine, the break of day.
I got it made, gonna make it on my own.
I took my love and I took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills, till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bold.